The Ravens dominated on both sides of the football, okay? Period. They just did. And you talk about dominating, they physically outplayed the San Francisco 49ers. But I didn't think that they would just physically impose that will on them and dominate them to a whole nother level.
This is the best football team in the NFL right now. What he can do so well and how he differentiates himself from every other QB is his manipulation in the pocket.
The Baltimore Ravens, with their play like a Raven tradition, went into San Francisco and said, watch this. And I thought they bullied the San Francisco Bullies in their house on their turf.
Can you imagine the elite class that he's going to be in with 2 MVPs and a Super Bowl?
You know, you guys, I'm just going to get straight into it at this point with the Baltimore Ravens because this team, man, at this current point is hands down the best team in the entire NFL, and it's not even an argument at this point. I said in my last Ravens video, if they found a way to beat the 49ers, they were easily going to be the #1 team in the entire NFL. But what's crazy about this is they didn't just beat the 49ers, they absolutely beat them down all the way from the start to the finish. The Ravens offense looked to be clicking on all cylinders, from the run game to the passing game, all the way to Lamar Jackson being able to do whatever he wanted. And the defense, man, was what impressed me the most because they were able to shut down the best offense in all of football, which is not an easy task to do. And while they did play so well, what's crazy about this Ravens team is it looks like they're only going to get better from here, considering they're one of the hottest teams in the entire league. But before we get into that, if you like Baltimore Ravens content just like this, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any Ravens content for the remainder of this season. Okay, so to get back on topic with the Baltimore Ravens, this team came into the season with extremely high expectations considering everything they did this offseason, like surrounding Lamar Jackson with more talent and adding Todd Monken to the offense. And man, have all of those additions paid off in a great way. I mean, we all knew Lamar Jackson was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but we had never really seen him with some good weapons around it. But now that he has some pretty solid weapons, he has this offense dominating. Everyone said that he couldn't be a true pocket passer and he couldn't sit in the pocket and go through his progressions and make throws, but just like he always does, he's found a way to prove all of these guys wrong. And now that Todd Monken is allowing him to do this on a consistent basis, we're seeing this Ravens offense perform at a lot higher of a level, and we're seeing Lamar Jackson play the best football of his entire career. So if he has the protection and you're going to give him time to throw, he can tear your defense apart from within the pocket. But as we all know, what makes Lamar Jackson is the fact that he can also get outside of the pocket and use his legs to do damage, or he can get outside of the pocket and make some insane throws that not many guys in this league can make, and it just makes him one of the more well-rounded quarterbacks in the entire NFL. And with the way he's currently playing, and the fact that he has the best record in the entire league, and he just beat what most people thought to be the best team in the league, I think he's going to be pretty much the unanimous MVP. But the passing attack and Lamar Jackson is obviously only one part of this offense, and as we all know, the Ravens are also really, really good at running the football, and they did a pretty good job of that as well against the 49ers. Now, to just go ahead and boost Lamar Jackson a little bit more, he was their leading rusher on the night, but even though Gus Edwards and Justice Hill didn't have crazy good days, we still saw them come through and make some decent plays here and there, which made the 49ers respect the run game, which is all that really matters. On top of the passing attack and the run game looking really good, I also have to mention that none of that could be possible without the offensive line, and man, did they do a great job at holding up against one of the best fronts in football. I feel like Lamar Jackson on multiple occasions had a long time to throw, some of it due to him obviously having some great pocket presence, but another part of it was the offensive line just doing a great job doing their assignments and blocking the guy in front of them. And when you look at this offense and you see weapons like Zay Flowers and Isaiah Likely and OBJ, and you see an elite quarterback like Lamar Jackson, and you see a great offensive line and a great run game, they start to look pretty scary, and in my opinion, that's exactly what they are. They're one of the scariest offenses in football, but what's even crazier about this whole situation is the fact that the defense could honestly be considered even more scary. The 49ers offense came into this game with not only the MVP frontrunner in Brock Purdy, but also the best running back in all of football and the #1 offense in football in totality, and they shut them down from start to finish with a lot of their yardage coming in garbage time. I mean, Brock Purdy, the guy that everyone's been drooling over, came into this game super hot, playing some of his best football, but what did the Ravens do? They got after him in the pass rush, and the secondary locked up the receivers all day long, causing 4 costly interceptions. I mean, they made Brock Purdy look like the guy he was drafted to be, Mr. Irrelevant, the last overall pick, and as we've seen in previous games, that is not very easy to do. He has dotted up some really good defenses, but the Ravens are not one of those defenses. And like I mentioned a little bit earlier, it all starts with the pass rush because these guys were all over Brock Purdy and all over the offensive line all night long. They might have only finished the game with 4 sacks, but we saw pretty much every player on the D-line getting after Brock Purdy and getting pressure in his face, which is what caused the 49ers to have such a lack of success. Every game starts and stops with the trenches, and the Ravens found a way to win in almost every rep they had in the trenches, and that's a big reason why they won this game. The pressure was there all night long, like it has been all season, just showing that this is the best overall defensive line in the entire league. And on top of that, we also saw Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith have really solid games as well, which makes up a really good front 7 showing overall. I mean, I was expecting this defense to give the 49ers a lot of trouble, but I wasn't expecting them to come in here and absolutely dominate like they did. And you could say that they proved a lot of people wrong, because I feel like some people were downing this defense without much reason. And finally, to talk about the group that everyone thought was going to get torched in the secondary, showed that they can dominate regardless of the weapons that an offense has. I mean, Marlon Humphrey was absolute clamps all day long, getting himself an interception. Brandon Stevens played pretty good football as well. Ronald Darby should have had himself an interception. And Marcus Williams played pretty good football. But the guy that almost plays perfect football game in and game out is that guy Kyle Hamilton, and he showed himself to be one of, if not the very best player on the field tonight. He is an absolute freak of nature, and with him on this defense combined with all the other pieces they have, I don't see any offense is going to have much success against them. So, with all things considered, what can you take away from this video? The Ravens defense is easily the best defense in the entire NFL. I don't want to hear anybody talk about the Browns because it is the Ravens. And man, the offense the Ravens have currently has the MVP frontrunner. They have weapons for him to work with. They have a great offensive line, not only in pass protection, but also in run blocking. And they don't look like they're going to be stopped by anybody. So currently, they're looking like a team that would win the Super Bowl. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, and I know there's 2 games left in the regular season still to play, and there's a lot that can happen, but I mean, you gotta know where I'm coming from, considering this team is currently the #1 seed, and they're most likely going to be able to keep their spot as long as they win out. And if they do that and all the playoff games go through Baltimore, I just can't see a world, as long as they stay healthy, where they lose. But of course, that's just my opinion, so I'm still curious to know what you guys are thinking in the comments below. So let me know your thoughts about the offense and the defense down there. And with that being said, I'll catch all of you guys in the next one.